This sucks again. Being rejected by those that truly know me. Oh. Being rejected. I meant to say. Hey pals, and welcome back to another vlog. So in my last video I talked about how I finished this whole notebook, so I decided to go ahead and just film what I said in that video, like kind of the favorite moments, just like random moments, just go through it a little bit. And I have a lot of sticky notes, so we better start this or it's gonna be 100 years long. So yeah, January 9th, 2016 is the first one I'm gonna read, and I was going through a book about success, I think at the time. Oh, it was like 2 years ago. It's kind of hard to remember these things, which I'm glad I wrote them down so I have at least some remembrance. But yeah, so I started it, like the title was Success Defined, and so this is like what, it was kind of like giving me new perspective of what success should look like instead of what we typically think it looks like. And so I said, maximizing the potential God has instilled within me, being respected by those that truly know me. I think that one's really good. Good job, bae. Raising of godly groups and empowering others that most can't reach. Accomplishing goals God wants for me. Making others feel special. I think that's an important one too. And becoming a spiritual warrior. And I just thought that was like really cool because it just shows that I was learning something at that point. I just think that's cool. I don't know. Okay. Next one is at the end of January 31st, 2016. And this is so funny to me. So at this time, I was gonna change my major. I never declared a major before advertising, but I really just wanted to know like what the Lord had for me. So I decided to fast because in my head I was just like, it's a straight connection to God, like he'll tell me what to do and stuff. So I decided to fast for 3 days. And the first line in this is from the first day. I said, I honestly can't believe I have only drank water. And I just thought that was so funny because I never just done a water fast. And so it was just like so different and hard. Like if you have never just done a water fast, that is denying your flesh, and boom, things will happen, things will change, revelations will happen. Anyway, I just thought that was so funny, and I was like, I can't believe I've only drank water today. Okay, so the next one skips forward a few months to May 3rd, 2016, and this, when I was reading it, was just so good that I just wanted to share it with you guys because I was like, wow, that is something I needed to hear now. So before we go on mission trips with our school, we have to go through this week of ropes, which helps prepare us for the mission field. And at nighttime we have speakers come and just talk to us about things. And so this night the title was the Samson Revelation, and I'll just read some points from it. And it said, when we do what's right and it doesn't work out, don't freak out. There is always something about God you don't know. We do not, will not, cannot ever know more than God. Just choose to be a part of the opportunity rather than worry about your revelation. And I thought that was so good because sometimes we think that we're doing the right things and we expect this result, but sometimes it's just like being open to that opportunity or just going through the process is what God wants us to do. And I don't know, our expectations sometimes don't always line up with what we thought. I don't know, our expectations don't line up with our expectations. That'll preach. Okay, the next one, it does not have a date, but it was during ropes week again. A lot of these will have to do with my mission trips because I just have a lot written from it, and this is just really cool to me. Like, I don't know. So sometimes I'll like write letters to myself from God, and it just kind of helps me to like think through the feelings of what I think the Lord is revealing to me. So that might sound weird, and this letter might sound weird, but it just helps me to process things. So I wrote, Bailee Nicole, don't give up the ambitions you've had inside of you for years. They are from me, your father. People will enter, leave, and even return where I see fit, but those desires should and will flourish if you hold on to and trust me with your whole heart. These desires may change, adapt, and grow, but listen and understand that I am the orchestrator and not you. Hand it over, the control, to me. You asked me many years ago to break your heart for the things that break my own, so let me. I am the chisel, and you, my daughter, are the masterpiece. Take the advice I have generously shared with you to impart into others and also impart into yourself. I love you more than any other being, and more than you could possibly comprehend. So when I said I love you more than any other being, it's not that he loves me more than my siblings or friends or whatever. It's more than he loves me more than any other physical person could love me, just to clarify. I am also pleased with you. I am proud of you. I'm going to take you to another level. Love, your Heavenly Father. I just thought that was so cool, just like going back to like that night, just like when I felt that that's what he was sharing with me. It's just really cool. Okay, so the next one comes from when I was on my mission trip in Italy. Okay, so this is day 5 of our trip, 5/14/16. Oh my goodness. So today we got to tour the Alps, and holy cannoli were they beautiful. So we got to go see the Italian, like looking into like France, those Alps, and they were so beautiful. It was one of the craziest moments of my life. It was one of our free days. We learned about the persecuted Christians and the first church in the cave. It truly was breathtaking. Later we did the youth service, where I was one of 4 chosen to speak. I knew immediately that I was to share about the purpose of grace empowerment. I felt that the Lord really used me to communicate to the young adults. It was the first time I had ever truly preached in front of a congregation, and I put in parentheses, not a testimony, and boldness really overtook me. So one thing that really stuck out on this trip to Italy was boldness that was being instilled in me. I had never preached before. I had given my testimony, which is just like sharing your story with other people. But this is the first time I had a topic that I studied upon, and then I shared it with people. So that was just a really cool opportunity. And I don't know, I just felt like a little adult. Okay, so then this is the next day, Italy day 6. And what is this about? Oh, I know why I chose this. So I'm talking about how we were at the church and we ate Peruvian style, because there were so many like South American, Central American people that were in that church, which is very interesting, because that's so far away from Italy. I don't know, it's just crazy how like it all came together. And I was talking about how like I felt like a failure for ministry that day because I was so nervous, and I could not speak Italian at all, so there was like no way. We were doing street evangelism that day, and there was like no way for me to communicate with people if I didn't have a translator. And so we were passing out these pamphlets, and so many people would take them and immediately throw them in the trash. And I was like, oh my gosh, that is literally rejection 101. Like, I was experiencing that so up close. It was insane. But then I talked about how it was humbling. It's important because the Lord would use that testimony a week later. I did talk about that. I think one of the last days we got to speak at the church. And then at the end I said, at night we had pizza and socialized for hours. And then I said, P.S. I also rapped crazy boldness. And it was so funny because that is so unlike me. So when, like, as I grew up, I was so shy. Like, my family, we joke about the story when we would go to Arby's, and I was like hardcore vegetarian growing up sometimes. And so we would get, or I would get a regular sandwich, hold the roast beef. So I just wanted the bread and the cheese. And I was so shy that I couldn't even order it. Like, I would have to tell my dad, I would whisper in his ear. And so we always joke and say like, can I just get the bread and cheese? Like, we just pick on little Bailee because I was so shy. And it took me so long to come out of that. Like, it took until like middle school and high school. And now I'm just like, I'm different Bailee. But like, I would have never guessed. I'm not that type of people, if there's dance circles, to just go in the middle and just be silly or whatever, or be serious in dance, or like if we have a rap circle or whatever. I'm not the type of person to go and do that. But just that night, I just like pushed people aside and I went in the center, and I was like, I don't know what to rap. I'm not a rapper. And they were like, just rap any song. So I literally rapped. No one else remembers this because they were just like, wow, you rap, that's so cool. And I was like, what you guys neglect to remember is that I rapped Taylor Swift's We Are Never Getting Back Together. Is that the name of the song? Yeah, so I literally just rapped the words to that song. It was so funny. And it got caught on video, and I wish I could pull in that clip. If I can, I'll try to insert it here. But if not, just picture me rapping that song. It is so funny. But yeah, crazy boldness definitely just marks that night. It's so funny. Okay, so the next one is, I'm just gonna read the tail end of it. It's from the next day. It was a week we had been in Italy, so the 7th day. And we had done ministry all day, and then at night, this is me reading out of it. At night we played volleyball against the Italians. Excuse me. At night we played volleyball against the Italians. We lost the first 2 games, but before the 3rd game, Tony, who is one of our contacts, was standing on the US side, so I went and stood on Italy's side. We ended up playing like that, and it was awesome. We won, and the Italians were very impressed with me. That night was so funny. They split us up, US and Italians, and I was like, no, we should mix together and get to know each other better, but that's just how they did it. And so one of the guys from Italy, he came over to our side, and we were just talking like in between a game, and so he was standing there, and I was like, Tony, and so I just went and stood on the Italian side, and they were like, okay, and they just like took me in as one of their own, and it was so fun. That was another moment of boldness that I was just like, I'm gonna do what I want, and it was just so fun. And then me and the Italians, we won. We whooped up on the US and Tony. It was such a fun night, and I just remember one of the guys telling me like, you're good, and I was like, thanks. It was just so fun. Okay, so the next one I'm gonna read is, oh, okay, I'll just read a little bit. I just want to read the funny parts of these things. So, Italy day 10, 5/19/16. The beginning, we worked at the church pretty much all day. My blister popped. I just wanted to read that part, and I was so proud. So we had been working in the church, and they're building a new sanctuary. It's actually about to open in a few months. Actually, maybe this month. That's insane. Oh my gosh, I'm so excited. But we had been, if you've ever done like construction, I guess you would say, whenever you lay tiles or anything like that, you put these little cross, I don't know what the actual name of them is. I did know at some point, but I forgot now. But they're like these little rubber cross things, and you put them in between each, why can I not think of the word? I just said it too. Tile, there's the word. You put them in between each tile plate just to keep the separation, and then you put the grout in afterwards. So our job, after everything had dried, we had to pull out all those crosses, and some of them were like super cemented in there, and so I got a blister on this hand, I'm pretty sure, and it hurt so bad. And the next day we did the same thing, and I popped it during like working, and I was so excited because it made the pain go down so much. Okay, so this next one, I was a little iffy about throwing in there, but this is just so funny. Like, the way I wrote it was just so savage. I'm just gonna go ahead and read it. To every boy out there that even thinks they like me, I know you aren't the one. I know I'm 99% sure I will not marry you, so I'm saving yourself the trouble and heartbreak. This is what I want to scream sometimes. Tomorrow I want to walk around with a button that says that, so these boys understand that I am not interested. Then I put with a little like funny face that I wrote next to it. And I guess this was just one day that I was just so done with like boys being interested in me that I didn't like back. I was like, why can't a boy that I like me back? So I just wrote that. I don't know. It's just funny. And then this one is just, I thought it was like cutesy. Who is calling me? Just 1 second. Y'all, it was literally the Google services, that sounds funny, calling me again. They always are calling me. And I've unsubscribed from them like 5 times, but they just keep on calling. Okay, lay down. Lay down. Sweet girl. There you go. Okay, so back to the notebook. So this one is around Christmas time, and it was just cutesy, so I thought I'd read it. It says, it's crazy how many times you can be with someone, talk to them, but not notice the little things about them until they're inches away from you. The way their eyes light up with happiness as they talk and even listen. How perfectly tiny their teeth actually are. I want to pay more attention to detail because I don't want to miss a single thing in this new year. And then I put la da da da. Sometimes I just write really random stuff at the end. But I can totally picture who I was talking about, and it was not someone that I wanted to date. It was a boy, but I just remember sitting there talking to them, and I was like, wow, I've never noticed these things about you. So it was just like a good reminder to pay more attention to people and to things in general. Okay, now we're skipping forward quite a bit into the new year. This is 3/12/2017, and this is to Nicaragua. Woo! Okay, so this is day 1 of ministry. This morning we went to a coffee shop for lunch and a drink. We walked a few blocks to it and it was so exciting how good and safe I still felt walking the streets of Nicaragua again. It made me so excited to still have the same feelings about this country. I ordered a lime slush at the coffee shop, and in parentheses I said, I just want to remember this. Then we came back to the hostel and our contacts went over guidelines and some of the stuff we will do this week. After that, we took a 30-minute nap, we went to the church and were given instructions as to what we would be doing for the kids' ministry day. Then we hung out till church and greeted people as they arrived. We had worship, prayed for the kids, and did offering. Then we broke into our groups for the night. Chris and I shared our testimony for the congregation, and then the pastor shared his sermon. It was hard to understand because he spoke so fast, but I was captivated by his passion. We took communion at the end, which was one of the coolest things ever. Man, I loved it. It was a good day, and I'm excited to see what will happen this week. And man, I was just so excited that I was back in the same country for a second time that I just loved and adored, and it was just so cool that I had the same feelings of like security, like that I could live there one day, and just, I don't know, it was just such a good, like, nostalgic moment for me. Okay, so this is during school. I must have been, I don't know if I was in class or waiting, I don't know what, but it's kind of silly. Okay, so this is 4/7/17. Wowza. Haha, there I go again with that word, because so many times when I write things, I start with wowza. W-O-W-Z-A. That's just my word. It just perfectly sums up all the feels in just 2 syllables. It has been one testing week. I struggle with the idea of trust this week. I mean, I still am, but I wrestle with the idea of trusting God, people, and myself. I am kind of writing this because I have nothing else to do and need to kill about 20 more minutes before our Kiva presentation. P.S. Bet you look really good. Winky face. Self-encouragement never hurts. 3 winky faces, and then I drew a monkey. So we were about to do this presentation. Is that a real word? If that's a bad word, sometimes I get really nervous that I'm saying a bad word on accident, and it's probably not even a real word. But we were about to do our presentation. Okay, both of my puppies are just really wanting some attention. Like, look at both of them. Silly. Okay, I'm almost done, baby. So, we're about to do this presentation for school, and I guess I just had to kill 20 more minutes, so I wrote. Alright, we're getting towards the end. I just have 2 more. Okay, so this one also doesn't have a date, but let's see what it's near. It was probably around September, I would assume. What did you just eat? Okay, so it was around September, and the title is Mafia. So we had our first brother-sister wing event 2 nights ago, and at the end we played Mafia. Well, the next morning I woke up confused and pumped full of adrenaline due to a dream about real-life Mafia game. It was like a game show, but I don't know if the people actually died or if ... I don't know. It was just flippin' weird. So our brother-sister wing event is just like, you're paired up. If you haven't gone to college or you didn't have brother-sister wings in college, it's just like, so I live on a wing or floor, and you get paired up with your brother dorm and that wing. And so we went and had an event, and we just went and hung out and got to know each other, and at the end we played Mafia, which if you don't know that game, it's so fun. Google it and play it with a group of friends. And it was just so weird. When I have dreams about what I've experienced during the day usually, and when I remember them, it's amazing because they're usually so funny. But I had a dream about Mafia, and I was like, when I woke up, I was like, oh, wow, that was like intense, man. But it was just so funny. Okay, and then this one gets more serious again, but I just thought it was so good. Like, sometimes I read stuff I wrote when I was like, Bailee, you were preaching to yourself. Okay, so this one is 8/25/17. Right now, in the present, today, I am focusing on attaining that 4.0. I want it now more than ever. But how much will I push myself to get there? Right now, present day, I am focused on many things. Family, new floor relationships, old floor relationships, loss, gain. It's all there waiting to persuade my attention to give time and energy towards it. It shifts between these different things. When one thought ends, my attention is drawn to the next. But what if, right now, present day, I choose to focus on you? Allow my attention to be drawn to you. How would it feel? I feel good, but I know better is out there, nibbling at my fingertips, aching in my bones. If I listen and give in, what would become of me? Would I lose all logical goals and the charisma to fight for them? Would those desires be amplified? would they change altogether? I think they would begin to blur and you would begin to find focus right in the forefront, centered in everything. And when I say you, I'm talking about God. And that was just one of those times, which I definitely should make a video about this because I haven't seen it very much, but I was kind of going through kind of this spiritual lethargy is how I labeled it, which I was just becoming very lethargic or lazy in my relationship with the Lord. And so I just was trying to break through that and push myself to like kind of get rid of the focus on everything else and just focus upon Christ and let everything else fall where it may and how he would allow it to be. But yeah, that got really serious really fast at the end. But that's the end of my notebook, and I thought that was so fun to go through with you guys. I hope you guys enjoyed it. One more thing before I end, I want to know how many of you guys noticed that I got a haircut in color. Obviously it's in a ponytail, so you might not be able to notice it as much, but my goal was so that nobody would notice. Isn't that so strange? But I colored and cut my hair, so, and I think it turned out really well. Give me a second and I'll try to show you. Oh, it does not look very good. I really need to wash it, but you know, whenever you, on the box, whenever you dye your hair, you're not supposed to wash it for 24 hours till the color stays. But yeah, okay, now that it's like down, it looks shorter, obviously. Okay, so it was like, it was probably like 2 inches longer, and then I cut it, and I gave myself some layers. I think it looks so good, and it looks okay. So my roots were about this color, and the rest of my hair was kind of golden because I had bleached it a while back in the summer. Was that last year or the year before? I think that was last year's summer, so like 2016. I cannot remember all these things. It all blurs together. But yeah, so it made my hair kind of like a golden color, and I just wanted it to be back to normal. And last spring I dyed it, but it was like pretty dark looking. It didn't look very natural, and then when I lightened it up it looked better, but then it came back to gold again because color just fades. But right now it looks like so good. Like, this is what my hair used to look like before I bleached it. So I'm so excited with it, but I hope none of you guys noticed until I pointed it out, because that was my goal. Okay, now that's all I really gotta say. So until next time, pals, I hope you're having a great day, whatever the day of the week it is, and see you later. Bye, pals.